"We can't go home, Dad. Mom planned something." Those words, whispered by my little boy Ethan in the airport parking lot, ripped through the calm of that Tuesday morning. In that instant, every piece of my life snapped into terrifying focus. The timer was set for 10:15 a.m., exactly 15 minutes after I was supposed to be back inside our house. My name is Nathan Bradley, and for 2 decades, I've investigated insurance fraud. I know every trick, every desperate scheme people invent to fake their deaths for money. But I never imagined I'd become the target. What happened next didn't just save our lives. It exposed a conspiracy far darker than I could have ever conceived. For 3 years, I believed I'd found the perfect second wife. Amanda was beautiful, charming, everything my first marriage wasn't. But in that parking lot, with Ethan trembling beside me, I realized I'd been living with someone who wanted me gone for good. What I discovered didn't just unravel her plan, it proved that sometimes the people closest to you are the most dangerous. I stayed calm, a reflex honed by 20 years in fraud investigation. But inside, my blood ran ice cold. This is the story of how my son's quiet warning turned into a life-saving revelation, and why I'll never ignore his instincts again. Let me take you back to last month's neighborhood barbecue. That's where I should have seen the first warning signs. Nathan investigates insurance fraud for a living, Amanda announced to her college friends, rolling her eyes. He spends all day looking at spreadsheets and gas leak reports. Her friend Victoria laughed. "How thrilling. What's the most exciting thing you've found?" "Someone lying about a fender bender," I said quietly. "Actually, last week I caught a staged house fire. The owner tried to collect $850,000. "Sure you did." Amanda's brother Craig smirked. "Mr. Columbo here, solving the big cases." Amanda touched my arm. Not affectionately, but more like she was steadying herself. "Nathan's very thorough," she said. "Sometimes too thorough." That stung, but I bit my tongue. 3 months earlier, my parents had died in a car accident, leaving me their house, valued at $1.9 million. Suddenly, Amanda started talking about our future differently. More designer purses, more expensive wine, more mysterious phone calls. "You worry too much," she'd say when I asked about the bills. "We're financially secure now." But I wasn't worried about money. I was worried about patterns, like how Amanda had increased my life insurance to $2.8 million in August. "Just being responsible," she'd explained, "with Ethan to think about." Or how she'd started taking these business trips, marketing conferences in Denver, sales seminars in Phoenix, always alone, always last minute. "The insurance industry is changing," she'd claim. "I need to stay current." The problem was, Amanda worked at a local casino. Had for 5 years. Marketing coordinators don't usually attend insurance conferences. When I mentioned this gently, she got defensive. "You don't understand my career, Nathan. You never have." Maybe she was right. Maybe I was just a boring paper pusher who saw conspiracies everywhere. But then there were the phone calls, late at night, hushed conversations in the bathroom, always ending quickly when I walked in. "Work stuff," she'd say. "You know how it is." Except, I did know how it was. I'd been married before, to Ethan's mother, Sarah, who died of cancer when he was 3. Sarah never took mysterious calls, never hid financial documents, never made me feel like an outsider in my own home. The worst part, though, was how Amanda treated Ethan. Oh, she was sweet enough in public, posted pictures of them together on Facebook, called him my bonus son when her friends were around. But when we were alone, it was a different story. "Ethan's too clingy," she'd complain. "He needs to learn independence." Independence, that was Amanda's word for everything. Independence from my family traditions. Independence from my work friends. Independence from anyone who might ask uncomfortable questions. Last Tuesday, she announced another business trip. Denver Insurance Summit, she said. 3 days. Very important for my career. I helped her pack, watched her fold expensive lingerie I'd never seen her wear at home, and noticed how she carefully placed her laptop in a separate compartment. "What time is your flight?" I asked. 7:30, she said, not looking at me. "You'll need to drop me off early. 6:45 on a Tuesday? That's unusual." "It's a busy conference. Everyone flies out early." I nodded, but something felt wrong. Like when you smell gas but can't find the leak. That night, Ethan crawled into bed with us. "A nightmare," he said. "About the house burning down." "Just a dream, buddy," I whispered. But Amanda was awake too, staring at the ceiling. And for just a moment in the darkness, I could have sworn she was smiling. Tuesday morning came, gray and cold. September 12th, 2024. A date I'll never forget. Amanda was unusually cheerful at breakfast. "This trip is going to change everything," she said, buttering Ethan's toast. "When I get back, we'll be in a much better position." "What kind of position?" I asked. "Financial? Personal?" She just smiled. "You'll see." Ethan picked at his food. He'd been quiet all week, withdrawn, the kind of behavior that worried me as a father. "You okay, buddy?" He glanced at Amanda, then back at his plate. "I'm fine, Dad." But he wasn't fine. I could tell. We loaded Amanda's luggage into my 2019 Honda Pilot. 2 expensive suitcases, the Louis Vuitton set she'd bought last month. $2,400 for luggage. When I'd questioned the expense, she'd snapped, "It's an investment, Nathan. Image matters in my business." Driving to the airport, I did the math. The luggage, the insurance increase, the mysterious calls, Amanda's gambling. Yes, I'd figured that out too. Last week, I'd found a bank statement in her purse. Withdrawals from Atlantic City Casino. $43,000 in 3 months. When I'd confronted her, she'd laughed it off. "Occasional entertainment," she'd said. "I'm not addicted." But I knew addiction. Saw it in insurance claims all the time. The desperate lies, the escalating risks, the moment when someone crosses the line from victim to perpetrator. Amanda owed money. Serious money. The kind that makes people desperate. And desperate people do desperate things. "Dad," Ethan said softly from the back seat. "Do we have to go straight home? Why wouldn't we?" He was quiet for a long moment. Then, "Can we get breakfast somewhere? Like McDonald's?" Amanda turned around, her voice sharp. "Ethan needs to learn routine. Discipline. Not fast food rewards." But I heard something else in her tone. Urgency. Like she needed us to stick to the schedule. "Maybe breakfast isn't a bad idea," I said. "No." Amanda's voice was firm. "Home. Ethan has responsibilities." What responsibilities? It was a Tuesday morning. The kid didn't have school for another hour. At the airport, Amanda kissed us both goodbye. Her lips felt cold against my cheek. Mechanical. "I'll call when I land," she said. "Take care of each other." She walked into the terminal without looking back, pulling those expensive suitcases, wearing the black coat I'd bought her for Christmas. And that's when it hit me. Denver in September. High of 62 degrees. Why pack summer clothes? I sat in the parking garage, engine running, watching the departure boards through the windshield. Amanda's flight, United 1247 to Denver, showed on time. But something was wrong. Had been wrong for weeks. The insurance increase, the gambling debts, the mysterious calls, the expensive luggage, the summer clothes for a cold weather city. The pieces were starting to connect, forming a picture I didn't want to see. Then Ethan whispered those chilling words again. "We can't go home, Dad. Mom planned something." My son, my quiet, observant son, had seen something, heard something, felt something. "What did she plan, buddy?" I asked, my voice steady despite the tremor in my hands. He hesitated, then spoke in a rush. "Last night, I heard her talking on the phone. She said, it has to look like an accident. The gas company will blame the old pipes. And then she said, he'll be at work. No one will be home except the boy." My blood ran cold. And then she said, "I set the timer for 10:15. That gives us plenty of time." A timer. A gas leak. My house, my son, and me. The 10:15 a.m. deadline. I was supposed to be at work, but I had taken the morning off to drop Amanda at the airport. A sudden, unexpected change in my routine that had just saved our lives. I pulled out my phone, my fingers fumbling. I called 911. "My house," I said, trying to keep my voice even. "I think there's a gas leak. And I think it might be intentional." The dispatcher's voice was calm, reassuring, but I could hear the urgency in her tone. "Sir, we're sending a unit immediately. Stay where you are. Do not go home." Within minutes, police cars, fire trucks, and a gas company vehicle converged on our quiet suburban street. My neighbor, Mrs. Peterson, a sweet woman in her 80s, came out onto her porch, her face a mask of concern. "Nathan, honey, is everything all right?" "Just a gas leak, Mrs. Peterson," I called out, trying to sound casual. "They're checking it out." I called my friend, Detective Julie Chen, a sharp, no-nonsense investigator from the fraud division. "Julie, I need your help. It's Amanda." I explained everything. The insurance, the gambling, Ethan's warning. "She's trying to kill us, Julie. For the insurance money." Julie didn't doubt me for a second. "Nathan, get to the station. Bring Ethan. We'll handle this from here." At the station, Julie and a team of officers were already at work. They'd found the timer, connected to our gas line in the basement, set to ignite at 10:15 a.m. "It was crude, but effective," Julie said, holding up a photo of the device. "Whoever installed it knew enough to make it look like an accident." "Who installed it?" I asked, my voice tight. "We're working on that. But we have a lead." Mrs. Peterson mentioned a handyman, Trevor, who's been doing a lot of work at your house lately, especially in the basement. Trevor, I remembered him. A young man, always seemed a little too eager for work. Then Amanda's text came through. "Just landed in Denver. Conference is great, but can't wait to get home to my boys." Attached was a selfie. Amanda in what looked like a hotel room, smiling. Timestamp 10:30 a.m. "She's building her alibi in real time," Julie said. "Social media evidence that she's out of state. But I was studying the photo. Something's wrong, Julie. That's not a Denver hotel room." "How can you tell?" "The wallpaper, the art style. That's East Coast decor. And look at the window. In the background, barely visible, ocean view. She's still in Atlantic City, posting fake location tags." Julie immediately screenshotted everything. "This is all evidence now." At that moment, Mrs. Peterson walked over from her yard. "Nathan, honey, I saw all the emergency vehicles. Everything okay?" "Gas leak," I said simply, just being cautious. "Oh my. Well, you're smart to be careful, especially with Amanda away." Julie and I exchanged glances. "Mrs. Peterson," Julie said carefully, "did you see Amanda leave this morning?" "Oh no, dear. Amanda left last night, around 11:30. Big suitcases. Looked like she was going somewhere important." Another witness. More evidence of Amanda's lies. "Did you see anyone else around the house recently?" I asked. "That handyman fellow, Trevor, he's been here quite a bit. Yesterday afternoon, he was down in your basement for hours." "Hours? At least 3. I was gardening. Saw his van the whole time. Nice young man, very thorough with his work." Thorough, that was one word for it. My phone rang. Patricia Cox, the insurance attorney. "Nathan, you said this was urgent. Something about policy fraud. Someone forged my signature to increase my life insurance, then tried to kill me to collect. Dear God, who's the beneficiary?" "My wife, soon-to-be ex-wife." "Nathan, listen carefully. Don't sign anything. Don't agree to anything. And document everything. If she's attempted murder for insurance fraud, this case is going to be big." "How big?" "Federal charges. Insurance fraud over $1 million is automatic FBI involvement. Attempted murder, she's looking at life without parole." I felt something shift inside me. Not anger yet. Something colder, more focused. For 3 years, Amanda had made me feel stupid, boring, like I didn't understand the world. But I understood fraud better than anyone, and I was about to show her exactly how well. "Patricia, can you meet me at the police station? I think we're going to need legal representation for you, for when Amanda comes home." I hung up and looked at Julie. How long before she realizes her plan failed? Well, the explosion was supposed to happen 15 minutes ago, and she hasn't heard from Trevor. Where is Trevor? Picked him up 20 minutes ago. He's in custody, singing like a canary. What's he saying? That Amanda promised him $50,000 to tamper with your gas lines. Said you'd be at work when it happened. Except I wasn't. Except you weren't. Mrs. Peterson was still standing there, trying to follow the conversation. "Is Amanda in some kind of trouble?" she asked. Julie and I looked at each other. Then I made a decision. "Mrs. Peterson, Amanda tried to kill me and my son for insurance money. She's going to be arrested when she gets home." My neighbor's face went white. "Oh my dear Lord." And that's when I realized this wasn't going to be private anymore. This was going to be public. Very public. Amanda had wanted me dead quietly, but I was going to expose her very, very loudly. Amanda's social media post stopped at 11 a.m. That's when Trevor was supposed to call her, Julie explained, signal that the job was done. But Trevor was in interview room B, hands shaking, telling Detective Carson everything he knew. I watched through the one-way glass. 20 years of insurance investigations had taught me to read body language. Trevor wasn't just scared, he was panicked. She said it would look like an accident. Trevor was saying, gas leak happens all the time in old houses. Whose idea was the timer? Julie asked. Amanda's. She planned everything down to the minute. Why'd you agree to it? Trevor looked up, eyes hollow. Vincent Torelli told me I had 2 weeks to pay what I owed, or he'd break my kneecaps. How much? $120,000. Amanda offered $50,000 up front. $50,000 more after the insurance paid out. And you believe she'd pay the second half? She showed me the policy documents. $2.8 million. Said $50,000 was nothing compared to that. I turned to Julie. He's telling the truth. How can you tell? 20 years of fraud investigations. Liars elaborate. Truth-tellers give simple facts. My phone buzzed. Another text from Amanda. Conference running late. Might not be home until Friday. Miss you both so much. She knows, I said. Something spooked her. Julie nodded. Probably tried calling Trevor when he didn't answer. She's buying time, trying to figure out what went wrong or how to get out of the country. That thought hadn't occurred to me, but Amanda was smart. If her plan had failed, she'd need an exit strategy. Julie, can you put a hold on her passport? Already done, soon as we confirmed the timer device. At 2:30 p.m., Amanda's Uber pulled into our driveway. I was sitting on the front porch, calm, composed. Everything she'd never seen me be during a crisis. Julie's patrol car was hidden around the corner. Fire department vehicles were gone. Gas company trucks were gone. Everything looked normal except for the 20 neighbors who'd gathered to watch. Mrs. Peterson had been busy. Amanda got out of the Uber, pulling her expensive luggage. She looked surprised to see me home so early. Nathan, what are you doing here? Is everything okay? Everything's fine now, I said. How was Denver? She hesitated, just for a second. But I caught it. Wonderful. Very productive. Where's Ethan? Safe. Another hesitation. Safe. Why wouldn't he be safe? Because you tried to kill him, Amanda. And me. Her face went blank. Then a flicker of pure rage. What are you talking about? The gas leak. The timer. Trevor's confession. Her eyes darted to the neighbors, then back to me. You're insane, Nathan. You're making this up. Am I? Or are you just a desperate gambler who thought she could get away with murder? That's when Julie's car pulled up. Lights flashing. 2 officers stepped out. Amanda's composure shattered. This is a mistake, she shrieked. He's lying. He's always been jealous of my success. But no one was listening. As the officers cuffed her, Amanda looked at me, her eyes filled with a hatred so profound it made me shiver. You'll regret this, Nathan, she hissed. You'll regret this for the rest of your life. I just stared back, a silent promise that I wouldn't. This wasn't revenge. This was justice. Amanda was charged with attempted murder, arson, and multiple counts of insurance fraud. The evidence was overwhelming. Trevor's confession, the timer device, the forged insurance documents, her fake alibi, and Mrs. Peterson's testimony. The casino records showed her spiraling gambling debt, a motive as clear as day. The trial was swift and brutal. Amanda maintained her innocence, painting me as a delusional, jealous husband, but the jury saw through her lies. She was sentenced to life without parole. The aftermath was difficult, especially for Ethan. He had nightmares, was withdrawn, and struggled to trust anyone new. But with the help of a wonderful child psychologist, Dr. Rodriguez, and the unwavering support of our community, we began to heal. Mrs. Peterson brought over casseroles and cookies, and always had a kind word for Ethan. Detective Julie Chen became a trusted friend, checking in on us regularly. It took time, but we rebuilt our lives. Ethan, now 10, asked if we should feel bad for her. She was sick, Dad, in her mind. Yes, she was. But being sick doesn't excuse what she did. I know. I'm just glad she can't hurt anyone else. Me too, buddy. Me too. 5 years after Amanda's arrest, I married Dr. Elizabeth Foster. Yes, the same Elizabeth Foster who'd been Ethan's school counselor, who'd noticed his behavioral changes before the crisis, who'd recommended Dr. Rodriguez for trauma therapy. I want to marry someone who already knows our story, I told Ethan when Elizabeth and I started dating. Good, he said. I trust her. She helped us. Elizabeth understood our boundaries, our security systems, our hypervigilance around new people. She didn't try to change us. She adapted to us. Trauma-informed love, Dr. Rodriguez called it, respecting each other's healing process. The wedding was small, close friends, family. Mrs. Peterson, now in her 80s, served as unofficial grandmother. Nathan, honey, she said at the reception, you deserve this happiness. We all deserve second chances. Thank you, Mrs. Peterson. Ethan, now 12, walked Elizabeth down the aisle. His choice. She's not trying to replace Mom, he told me. She's adding to our family. Smart kid, wise beyond his years. Elizabeth moved into our ranch house. No basement. All gas appliances annually inspected. Security system with redundant monitoring. Do you think we're paranoid? I asked her one night. I think you're appropriately cautious. There's a difference. And you're okay with the precautions? Nathan, I fell in love with who you are now, not who you were before. This vigilance is part of protecting our family. Our family. I liked the sound of that. The insurance fraud seminars continued. Elizabeth sometimes joined me, speaking about recognizing emotional manipulation patterns. Financial abuse often starts with emotional isolation, she'd tell audiences. Victims are trained to doubt their own perceptions. How do you rebuild trust after betrayal? Someone always asked. Slowly, Elizabeth would answer. With transparency, with patience, and with professional help. Ethan thrived in his teenage years. Honor roll, soccer team, close friends who knew our story and didn't treat him differently. Dad, he said during his senior year, I want to study criminal justice. Why? Because of what happened to us. I want to help other families spot dangerous people. You sure? I'm sure. Our story has purpose. I want to use it to help people. At his graduation, Ethan's valedictorian speech referenced our experience. 5 years ago, my stepmother tried to kill my father for insurance money. I stopped it by trusting my instincts and speaking up. The audience was silent, then thunderous applause. I learned that children's voices matter, that families can survive betrayal, and that sometimes the scariest monsters look exactly like normal people. More applause. Elizabeth squeezed my hand. But I also learned that good people outnumber bad people, that communities protect each other, and that love rebuilds what evil tries to destroy. Standing ovation. After the ceremony, Agent Collins approached us. She'd become a family friend over the years. Nathan, there's something you should know. Amanda's case became FBI training curriculum, meaning every new agent learns about domestic insurance fraud using your story. You've probably prevented dozens of similar cases. Ethan prevented this one, I said, putting an arm around my son, and now he's inspired to prevent others. That summer, before Ethan left for college, we took a road trip, just the three of us, Elizabeth, Ethan, and me. Where should we go? Elizabeth asked. Somewhere Amanda never took us, Ethan said. Somewhere completely new. We drove to Colorado, hiked mountain trails, stayed in small hotels, made memories untainted by the past. On our last night, sitting around a campfire, Ethan looked at us thoughtfully. You know what I'm grateful for? What's that? I asked. That I listened to my gut that morning. That I trusted you enough to tell you what I heard. I'm grateful you did too, Elizabeth added. I'm grateful you both survived to find happiness again. We sat quietly, watching the fire. Three people who'd found each other through tragedy and chosen to build something beautiful. Dad, Ethan said eventually, do you think our story has a happy ending? Ethan, our story is still being written, but this chapter is pretty perfect. If you're watching this, please subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. And remember, trust your instincts, listen to your children, and never ignore the warning signs, no matter who's giving them. Sometimes the people closest to you are the most dangerous.